Hi everybody, it's Louise Travat here from Simply Changing, and it's Jayne Dickens as well. Jayne is a Simply Changing graduate coach. She's an amazing coach, and she's also a specialist in early years, so that's 0 to 5 development. So the work that we're doing with Patricia is very much in terms of primary development, and Jayne being a specialist in the 0 to 5s, we chatted, and she's got some great ideas that she wanted to share with you through the lockdown process. Now, what we're going to do for you today is what Jayne is going to share with you is a superb idea about working with your young person in your home to work towards their development. And one of the exercises that she's going to share with us has got multiple benefits. So those multiple benefits include that they are going to develop their emotional awareness and their ability to be able to create story and to express their feelings, so emotionally express their feelings. It's going to be an exercise that works on their fine motor skills, their hand-eye coordination, which I understand you really need when you are flying helicopters as an adult. So that's going to become it's going to come in great for the development of our future helicopter pilots, which I'm very excited about, and also in terms of developing imagination. So Jayne, you've got a great exercise, and you've got an example of working with a 20-month little boy as well. So what is this exercise that you're bringing for us today?
So I've got a lovely exercise activity for you to do at home with your children, and it's all about helicopter stories. And the idea is that young children under the age of 5, they develop their skills for writing through mark making. So when your child draws a scribble with a crayon, that's actually mark making. They're learning to put things on paper and making the connection to what's going on in their mind to putting it down on paper. And that's really important because through various forms of mark making, for example, with these big chunky crayons, they are developing the skills and the coordination in the fingers to hold a pencil. So when they go to school, they will have the ability to hold a pencil and to be able to learn to write. And it's also about hand-eye coordination. So that's important also for lots of different skills in life. Louise mentioned for those pilots who are going to be able to train to drive helicopters. So the helicopter stories idea is about you enabling children to develop their creative skills and their imagination and put it into a story. And it can start with young children as young as 20 months of age. Now, obviously, their vocabulary at that age is quite limited. Some children can say one word, some children can link 2 words together. So it's about you prompting them with their story. So if I just explain what we've done with this helicopter story, this is Jacob's Helicopter Stories book. Now, Jacob, from when he was born, we've read stories to him. This is my grandson, and this is him at 1 year of age. He loves pictures at that age in books. So what we're doing now, we're extending that knowledge for him so that he can actually understand how stories are made and be involved in writing those stories. So it's good with young children to start with an interest that they've already got. So Jacob has a real interest in dinosaurs, toy dinosaurs. So what I did, I put some dinosaurs out on the table, and he also had an interest in musical instruments, and I put 3 different musical instruments out as well. And we sat down, and one of the things that I've introduced him to, which you as parents can do and probably already do, is how a story can start. So once upon a time, there were some dinosaurs, and our story, Jacob, is going to be about dinosaurs. Which dinosaurs do you want to have in your story? And he chose these 2 dinosaurs. So I then talked to him about different dinosaurs. So that's extending his knowledge. And the dinosaurs went out to play. What did they go to play with, Jacob? What would they play with off this table? And he got the tambourine because it's nice and loud. And the idea is that you then talk through that story with the child. Remember, young children have a very short concentration span. So quite simply, his story at that age is very short. And you can see here, we named the dinosaur because then you are enabling the child to name things or people, objects. Eddie the dinosaur was playing his tambourine. Jacob and Bear danced because he had his bear with him. So I said, are you going to write your story? We gave him some crayons, and that is him doing his mark making. He's interpreting that story. Now, I then scribed this at the top, because what you can do over the time whilst they're with you before they go to school, you can make a whole booklet of helicopter stories. And it's just about them developing their knowledge and skills of mark making linked to writing, but also developing their imagination. So as the children get older, by the time they're aged 3, very often children then have got used to the idea of telling stories. They might be outside playing in the garden and they'll come and say, I've got a story, I've got a story. They haven't the ability to write that story down word for word at that age. But if you have a paper and a pen, you can say, tell me your story. And they'll tell you their story, and then they can colour it in, write it. They might then be writing the odd letter by the time they're aged 4. And that then can also, with helicopter stories, be acted out by preschool children. They can develop writing it down and then acting the story out, playing the different characters. And it's all about children developing their confidence to write stories, to be able to read books before they go to school.
Fabulous. Thank you very much indeed. That's beautifully explained. What I love about that explanation is that I'd forgotten about the importance of once upon a time. I'd forgotten about what that represents and how we all know as coaches that we can set up what we call anchoring, so we can hear something and we understand what it means. And we can have an emotional response to it too. So once upon a time is, oh, let's settle down and, oh, let's play into this story. So I really love, and I had forgotten how important once upon a time is. So that for me was quite significant. Would you always recommend that you start with once upon a time for that or similar reasons?
Well, it is, as you say, it brings back memories, doesn't it? Once upon a time, it allows them to use that link then. Oh, let's snuggle down, let's make a story together. And it's about developing that interest really in storytelling. So, and that storytelling is not just about books, is it? So for older children, and when they're starting school, it's about them being able to sit and tell a story in a group, tell a story at home with mum and dad. They always love it if you include someone in the story that has the same name as them. Once upon a time, there was a little girl called Ellie, and she went, where did she go? So it's about developing their communication as well as their imagination. And then this literally is about the adults scribing the words so that the children, you can recall those stories with the children. And I've had these books that have been done by young children, and when they keep them perhaps in a memory box, and then when they're perhaps finishing primary school, they look at them and say, wow, look at that story that I made up when I was 3. So it is a lovely way to discover what's going on in their minds, and that they are developing that imagination. And children have a brilliant imagination. They
And
really do.
the
Yes.
whole thing about play is about being able to create something out of nothing, and play with that story concept, that creative thinking. You reminded me of my friend Roz, who is now a crime writer, and she was going over some old stories that she had written, I think probably in primary school actually. And she'd found them in the attic at home, and they were great stories about crime. So, and she grew up to be a crime writer. I'm also thinking about how important that creative expression is, creating something out of nothing. You have a dinosaur, then you give it a name, and then it goes out and plays with the tambourine. So you're creating all those possibilities out of
Yes.
your imagination. Now, what we need right now in lockdown is someone to come up with the antidote to COVID-19, and those will be the same skills that are being developed in our young scientists of the future. And maybe Jacob will be one of those at the age of 20 months, learning from you how to be creative and think of the possibilities of what can happen. So these are really important. How long would an activity like this take from a practical point of view? How much time could a parent give to it? And where is the end of that activity? So how does an activity like this normally come to an end? How long does it take?
It can take as long or as short as you want, really. So, with young children who have developed the awareness of helicopter stories, if it is in an early years setting, they may have an area of the setting, indoor and outdoor, that's called the helicopter story area. And you can do that easily at home. It might be that in your living room or your kitchen, you always have paper and crayon or pencil there, and they get used to the idea. If a story comes in your mind, come and tell me about it and we'll write it, and you can draw your picture. So for this age group, obviously it's very limited concentration time, 10 minutes max. For other children, I have seen it with a child I can remember. He was aged 4 and had a great imagination, and his helicopter story went on for 2 pages. And they have no inhibitions, children, do they? I can remember the story was about a child that grew into a giant and had these huge feet and had to find some boots to fit those huge feet, and where he didn't go to get these boots. And that was really interesting, because the child was then thinking about travel. And what you do, another thing that you can do with them is ask what's called powerful open-ended questions. And as they get older, you can include that in the story making. So tell me, where did he go? Which different countries did the giant go to get his shoes? Tell me, how did he travel there? What did he go on, a plane, a boat? Tell me what vehicles he used. So again, it's about expanding that learning. And as we know, powerful questions are really important, aren't they, for stretching the mind? So,
Definitely.
yeah.
Definitely, Jane. Thank you for that. So at the age of 20 months, we're not saying that this is going to be the same for every child in the nation, but we are
No.
saying that on average 10 minutes might be, we might just have short bursts of really high quality play activity. Then what happens when it comes to an end? does the child go off? And I mean, typically, what would happen at the end of a 10-minute activity like
So at
this?
the end of an activity like this, for example, this first one, he did his drawing and then gone. That was it then. Just put it down, gone. So, and you learn from a child. Every child is unique. What one 20-month-old can do and his concentration will be very different to another. And likewise for a 4-year-old. So it all depends, and the parents will know what the concentration levels are of a child. The main thing is you're not sitting them down and making them do it. So it's about them learning through play. And that's why it's important at this early age to have the different props so that it's about making the link, really.
Lovely, lovely. Jayne, thank you so much indeed for that lovely exercise. The point of which is that you're going to gather all those helicopter stories. You're going to produce a little booklet of them. And that is going to be something that your child can look back over, maybe can add to the stories, can get their crayon out and draw in different colours. I notice you use different colours of paper as well. So I guess whatever's to hand in lockdown would be okay. I'm also guessing that you could perhaps even use wallpaper or lining paper or big flip chart
Anything.
paper.
Anything, this is just one that I've made, and you can do it. You might have an exercise book, so you can give them an exercise book. You might have different pieces of paper you can put together with sellotape, or as you say, you can use wallpaper. It doesn't matter what it looks like to the child. It's their book, so anything goes really, especially during lockdown. It's about what you've got in the house.
Yeah. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Thank you so much, Jayne. Jayne
Thank
is going to
you.
come back. She's going to do some more under fives activities. We're still rocking and rolling with Patricia Hogan Hussain as well in terms of primary education. And please pop your questions. We're really happy to answer them. Jayne and Patricia will be checking in all the time on the posts and making sure that we answer your questions. I'll do my best as well. And we wish you, what is it, Wednesday? We wish you a happy Wednesday on the lockdown, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Lots of love to you all. Take care. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.